Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Carter drops to his knees. According to Monday, May 26, 2025, spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Carter is making a major, audacious move. Hope for the future of Carter. Shortly after Carter Walton gave Daphne Rose a free pass, Hope Logan joyfully returns to his loft. Hope doesn't care that she didn't like the news of Hope and Carter's reconciliation. To her, Daphne is neither here nor there. Despite Carter's heartbreak for Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, she is simply glad to be back with him. Don't forget to check out our YNR spoilers for next week, here. When Carter unexpectedly drops on one knee with a ring and pops the question, Hope is equally taken aback. She appeared to be wearing the same outfit the last time she received an unexpected proposal from a man she had only been dating for a short while. But she was unable to accept Thomas Forrester's, Matthew Atkinson, proposal. Rather, until she rejected Thomas once more, she wore the ring around her neck for months. What is Hope going to tell Carter? For this, she wasn't really ready. Perhaps she finds it awkward to get married while her cherished ex-husband and baby daddy are dying. It's possible that Carter is not thinking straight. He appears to have lost his mind due to his intense love for Hope. Perhaps Hope will simply consent to once more wearing the ring around her neck. Daphne leaves. Daphne informs her friend Steffi Forrester Finnegan that she is going back to Paris since she feels as though she has nothing left in Los Angeles and Forrester Creations. She finds it unbelievable that Carter brought back that awful Hope Logan. Will Steffi stand up for Hope and tell Daphne what Carter actually heard through Brooke Logan's door when she attempts to dissuade her from leaving? Steffi offers Daphne the Forrester private jet so she may return to Paris since no matter what she says, it won't stop her from leaving. As with Steffi's previous flight, expect a comedy of mishaps as Daphne's pilot is none other than Deuce, special guest star Tom Arnold. Will Daphne return to compete with Hope for her fashion money, or is she truly going to be gone forever? Will Hope be taunted by a pregnant Daphne? According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, viewers eventually realized this would happen. Many fans of B&B think that the secret will be revealed and that Carter's affair with Daphne will be known to all. Will Hope be taunted by a pregnant Daphne? That's because Daphne was right there, heaping Hope on top of him, and he reacted when he heard Hope and Liam. Their secret won't be a secret for very long. Now, everyone wants to know if Daphne will make fun of Hope or if she is expecting. When everyone learns that Steffi brought Daphne into town to break up Carter and Hope, that's likely going to be the end of Steffi and Hope's brief romance. Naturally, there was a lot of discussion about the issue on the internet. Daphne does leave town for a while. We saw that preview of her telling Steffi she's leaving town, after she finds out that Hope and Carter are back together. Some commenters have even said Carter will pop the question really swiftly. Hope will agree to the wedding since Liam has been pressuring her to commit to a future with Carter. What will happen to Carter and Daphne next? Yeah, the way Carter was hugging Hope at the end and looking worried over his shoulder said trouble is on the way, remarked another soap opera viewer. When everyone learns who brought Daphne to town and why, that's most likely going to be the end of Steffi and Hope's brief romance. A mother is already seeing weeks of Carter and Daphne attempting to conceal their secret before being overheard by one of the Logan girls. I doubt Carter and Daphne became in flagrant delicto, was another comment that was made. Hopefully, Hope can fly to Paris and reunite with Thomas and end up pregnant with a Thope baby. The Bold and the Beautiful's May 26th episode is sure to be one of those memorable ones that viewers will speak about for weeks to come. It will be an emotional roller coaster filled with romance, optimism, and the kind of audacious statements that only this soap opera can make. In the middle of everything? Walton, Carter. Finally, in a dramatic and heartfelt fashion, the devoted, frequently sad, and hopelessly romantic legal eagle is taking center stage. Carter takes a move that alters everything after months of emotional back and forth, simmering tension, and romantic ambiguity involving Hope Logan, Liam Spencer's deteriorating health, and Daphne's ever-increasing presence. Indeed, the rumors are accurate. Carter makes a momentous act that moves everyone in the room to tears and takes one romantic triangle to new heights. Carter emerges from the shadows of helping others navigate their tangled romantic relationships and dares to write his own chapter with strong strokes, holding flowers in his palm and displaying a sensitivity that is uncommon from the often controlled COO. Fans have seen Carter's heart pulled in several different directions before this emotional high point. Hope, who is dealing with guilt about Liam's illness and uncertainty about her future, has relied heavily on Carter for assistance because of the unhealed scar from his previous connection with Quinn. Fans are speculating and feeling hopeful as a result of this link, which is gradually developing under the strain of loss and uncertainty. Is it finally Carter's turn to have a lasting love? Or is he extrapolating too much from a purely incidental friendship? Carter finds out right away. With a speech that begins as a consoling gesture and concludes with a life-altering proposal, not necessarily for marriage, but something as intense, a future, he unexpectedly assumes charge. An adventure together. An appeal to create something tangible in the midst of the chaos. Hope, caught up in the chaos of Liam's terminal prognosis and divided between the past and the present, is astounded by Carter's candor. There has been hesitation while she has been depending on him. Is it grief? Was it authentic? Carter, who always respects others' boundaries, makes the decision to end the wait. He opens out to Hope, reminding her of the security he provides, the tranquility she claims to have had in his company, and the unrestricted affection he is eager to offer. It isn't deceptive. It's not an act of desperation. It's real. And for the first time in a long time, Hope envisions a future based on possible enjoyment rather than duty or shame. Other plotlines erupt in stark contrast as Carter makes his momentous gesture elsewhere. After learning about his diagnosis, Liam is adamant on relieving Hope of all emotional responsibilities and gradually guiding her toward the life she deserves, free from hospitals and painful farewells. He even tells Brooke and Steffi in a selfless moment that he wants Hope to move on if love finds her. Even if it hurts, his blessing acts as a trigger. It sets the stage for Carter's confession and starts a discussion about the qualities of true love, such as timing, bravery, and sacrifice. Daphne, meanwhile, observes all of this with a mix of silent sadness and awe. She had grown to love Carter and thought she would have a shot, but all she needs to know is that he is staring at Hope with unflinching eyes. Heartbroken but wiser, Daphne retreats in a rare display of grace. She is aware that this is not her moment. Although the sequence shows her depth and development as a woman learning to lose with dignity, fans may still feel sorry for her. The timing of Carter's gesture is just as important as the romance. After weeks of escalating conflict due to treachery, strained friendships, and health issues, this one passionate encounter feels like a welcome relief. Initially dubious of Carter's role in Hope's life, Brooke observes the proposal from a distance and is pleasantly surprised. She hasn't seen someone talk to her kids so clearly, compassionately, and without any agenda in a long time. Ridge, who is there for a follow-up meeting at Forrester, observes the change in Brooke's attitude while Carter talks. Hope has returned. Softness is present. There is faith. Don't be duped, though. The drama doesn't end just because the moment is lovely. Steffi raises concerns because she is protective of Liam and doubts Hope's capacity for true release. Does Hope's emotional tiredness cause her to simply run into Carter's arms? Is this a coping strategy masquerading as romance, or is it truly love? Later in the episode, when she confronts Hope, Steffi shows her true self, not just a protective sister-in-law, but someone who sincerely wants everyone to find peace, even if that means bringing up uncomfortable facts. Liam seemed content with the concept of letting go during Finn's quiet time with him back at the hospital. Though exhausted, he is determined. The test findings Finn examines, however, give rise to some optimism, not enough to be confirmed, but enough to merit additional investigation. Finn chooses to remain silent for the time being in order to avoid giving viewers false optimism, but the way he stares at Liam makes them wonder whether this story is about to take a different turn. The May 26th episode concludes with a promise rather than a kiss. Instead of jumping into romance right away, Carter and Hope stroll outside into the Forrester courtyard, sit under the trees, and discuss the future, about creating something gradually, purposefully, and honestly. Although Hope acknowledges that she doesn't know everything, she is aware of how she feels about Carter. Secure. Observed. I get it. And that's sufficient for Carter. His extravagant gesture was intended to give love an opportunity to establish itself rather than to compel it to exist. Viewers are left feeling rejuvenated as the credits roll. Characters on The Bold and the Beautiful rarely experience simple joy, but today's episode nearly did. Carter's bold decision opened a door, but it didn't fix all the problems. And that's what viewers adore about this show. Despite the mayhem, there's space for unanticipated happiness, brave vulnerability, and love that manifests in both the quiet and the noisy times. May 26th will be remembered as a pivotal day for Carter and Hope, as well as for a program that successfully strikes a balance between sadness and hope. I hope that despite Liam Spencer's terrible health condition, Logan and Carter Walton will eventually find their way back together. For everyone involved, the emotional intensity surrounding Liam's grave diagnosis has produced sadness, introspection, and unexpected epiphanies. And although some people would have thought that this tragedy would bring Hope and Liam back together, it has had the opposite impact. Instead, Hope and Carter's reunion, which feels both inevitable and contentious, is set against the storm of emotions surrounding Liam's illness, rekindling something honest, genuine, and extremely complex. Their bond is unbreakable in spite of the turmoil, shame, and heartache. Those around them are in disbelief as what began as peaceful comfort has grown into something indisputable, posing important queries about love, timing, and devotion. Hope has been imprisoned in an emotional maze for weeks, divided between her obligations as Liam's wife and the unbreakable bond she has developed with Carter. Hope supported Liam as his condition deteriorated, tending to him, consoling him, and making a valiant effort to set aside her own desires. There was always something unspoken in the room whenever Carter walked in, despite the fact that her loyalty and compassion were genuine. He was now her emotional support system, her sounding board, and the one person who didn't look at her expectantly or with sympathy. Carter had witnessed the true Hope, a woman who needed someone, to help her breathe again, not simply a distraught mother or wife. And Liam's altruistic character started to show in terrible ways as he grew weaker. Liam made it plain in one poignant episode that he didn't want Hope to live her entire life anticipating death. He wished for her survival. That was the pivotal moment. With Liam's approval, Hope had to face the emotions she had been keeping hidden from both herself and other people. Comfort was not the only reason she spent time with Carter. It went beyond just grief bonding. It was something more profound, something that had been simmering for months. For his part, Carter tried to keep his emotions to himself out of consideration for the circumstances, but he was moved by Hope's courage and vulnerability. He eventually acknowledged that he still loved her and had always loved her, which set off a chain reaction of feelings that they were both unable to deny. A tentative and gradual reconnection ensued. No big announcements. Not a love affair behind the scenes. Just two individuals approaching something tangible slowly and carefully. As expected, Steffi is furious. She sees Hope's behavior as a betrayal of Liam as well as of everything they have experienced together. She accuses Hope of clinging to Carter like a life raft and leaving her husband when he was most in need. Hope, however, doesn't back down. She's still in love with Liam. She won't take his place. She's just making the decision to find happiness wherever she can, and that happiness currently resides in Carter. Brooke, too, is torn. Having experienced decades of Forrester family drama, she understands the dangers of emotional rebound, but as a mother, she wants to see her daughter happy. Ridge finds himself appreciating Carter's maturity and prudence as he watches the whole event play out. He sees a man who is attempting to provide light during a very dark period rather than taking advantage of grief. This reunion's strong character development is what makes it so captivating. Carter has changed since he was involved in a prohibited affair. He has gained knowledge. He is steady. Furthermore, Hope has changed because she clung to Liam because she was afraid of losing what she believed to be the only kind of love she could find. She is now a lady who is more aware of her needs, shortcomings, and heart. And even though there aren't any pyrotechnics or soaring tunes to accompany their reunion, it feels genuine. Earned. Silently strong. Nothing remains silent for very long in Bold and the Beautiful, of course. There are rumors circulating that Liam's condition might not be as irreversible as first believed. A contentious procedure that might prolong Liam's life or at the very least improve his condition has been alluded to by Dr. Buckingham. However, the news is delivered too late. Hope has already made the decision to let Carter into her heart, and she won't go back. This prepares the ground for conflict in the future. What if Liam gets better? Will Hope experience another tear? Will she come to the realization that what she has with Carter is what she has been looking for all along, or will she regret moving on? And Daphne comes next. She is not taking the reunion lightly because she was recently rejected by Carter and has her own secrets. Her wrath simmers beneath the surface, despite her public display of frigid calm. Fans are wondering that Daphne may be hiding facts that could ruin their bliss, possibly about Hope or Carter. It wouldn't be the first time a previous error returned to plague a new romantic relationship. Additionally, Carter and Hope's happy beginning might not last long if Daphne has anything to say about it. Additionally, the reunion destabilizes the relationships within Forrester Creations. Steffi planned Hope's return to the company as a show of goodwill, but it now feels like a betrayal. Carter, a business executive and legal expert, is currently romantically involved with the woman at the heart of the fashion line's most significant dispute. Now that her personal life is influencing the company, Steffi starts to wonder if she made the right choice in bringing Hope back. Ridge finds himself in a difficult situation where he must once more manage the emotional repercussions between the people he loves the most. Additionally, conjecture increases along with office stress. Is this new Hope and Carter able to withstand the scrutiny? One thing is certain, though, Carter and Hope are fully committed. They realize that love like this doesn't come around very frequently because they have experienced enough heartbreak. They are selecting one another whether or not the rest of the world agrees. Their love story, which is based on grief and rebirth, may not be conventional, but it is theirs. And that makes it dramatic, intense, and a must-watch in the world of the Bold and the Beautiful. Their reunion in the episode's closing minutes is both heartwarming and understated. No fireworks. Just a lengthy, weeping hug. Hope whispers, "I'm ready now," and Carter tells her, "I've waited for you, even when I didn't realize I was." This scene perfectly captures everything that B&B is known for: heart, drama, redemption, and a hint of scandal. This union serves as a reminder to viewers that despite the sadness surrounding Liam's illness, life continues to flourish despite it. And this is just the beginning for Hope and Carter. With lofty aspirations, keen ambition, and a silent hope that she might at last find a place, and a person, to call home, Daphne Rose had come to Los Angeles. She had been gradually making a name for herself at Forrester Creations for weeks, gaining recognition for her skill and a reputation for her subtle grace. However, beneath her elegant facade lay a heart that had started to race every time Carter Walton walked in. He was everything she hadn't anticipated: unwavering, honest, incredibly attractive, and exuding a serene aura that seemed to captivate her. And for a while, it seemed as though he might be seeing her as well. But when Carter selected Hope Logan, everything fell apart. Daphne was taken aback by the news of Carter and Hope's reconciliation. At least not this rapidly, not when Liam Spencer was still struggling for his life and everyone thought Hope's heart was heavy with sadness, had she anticipated it. Carter had benefited from Daphne's consolation, humor, and devotion. She had thought she was assisting him in overcoming the turmoil of his past. However, his heart ultimately belonged to someone else. Daphne was left to pick up the pieces after this. Every recollection of Carter echoed through every conversation and lingered throughout the corridors of Forrester, turning the once bright Los Angeles cityscape into a prison. Her grief was silent but profound. She was collapsing on the inside, but her eyes revealed nothing. Daphne began to withdraw as the days went by, first from social interactions, then from her job, and lastly from those closest to her. The difference was instantly apparent to Deacon Sharp, who had become into an odd confidant and friend. Daphne had a fire that reminded him of his own daughter Hope in her most determined times, and he had always had a soft place for underdogs. Deacon made an effort to reach her, encouraging her to fight for her goals and urged her not to give up. One evening over coffee, he urged, "Don't let this town break you. You're more resilient than this." Daphne was already packing, but Carter's decision doesn't imply your narrative is done. The sophisticated lady who had once entered Forrester Creations with her heart wide open and her chin raised was now purchasing a one-way ticket out of Los Angeles. Those closest to her were taken aback by her choice. Rich Forrester made an effort to persuade Daphne to stay after being struck by her sense of style and emotional intelligence. Even Steffi, who had previously viewed Daphne as a competitor and a troublemaker, apologized. In an attempt to ease the situation, Steffi said, "You don't have to leave just because something didn't work out." For Daphne, however, it was about purpose rather than just love. The city felt empty without Carter. Staying seemed like giving up when she had little hope for the future. She didn't make a big show of leaving. She didn't publicly weep or level allegations. She just left letters, said them farewell quietly, and disappeared through an open window like a breeze. Everyone was unaware, however, that Daphne's heart was transformed rather than merely broken. She learned a bitter but important lesson from her love for Carter: even when you put forth your best effort, you don't always succeed. That all you can do when love chooses someone else is to leave with your dignity unharmed. So she did. Standing at the airport with her suitcase by her side and stillness in her heart, Daphne wore a basic black coat, swept her hair back, and wore sunglasses to cover her teary eyes. Deacon arrived at that moment, panting, resolute, and carrying his own travel ticket. He stood in front of her at the gate and said, "You don't have to go. You're just allowing pain to win, even though you believe you're fleeing." Daphne looked at him in silence. "You came here to fight for something, and now you're walking out before the real story begins." Deacon's tone grew softer. "Are you not curious about what comes next? Because I don't see this as your ending. It's only the first chapter." Daphne hesitated for a second. However, the jet was taking off, and sometimes a shattered heart can't be stopped from boarding the next airline out of town by hope. Carter did not realize the extent of Daphne's suffering back in Los Angeles. He concentrated on hope, attempting to manage their renewed bond in the midst of Liam's illness and the consequences of their emotional choices. However, as reality set in and the dust settled, Carter started to have doubts. Had he dismissed Daphne too quickly? Had he mistook hope's consolation for love? Was the calm he experienced with Daphne what he had been longing for? Slowly but steadily the realization dawned on them. And a twinge of regret reverberated more strongly than he had anticipated when he found out Daphne had departed LA. Shortly after, Carter was approached by Brooke Logan, who was always the wise voice of consequence. She deliberately remarked, "She was a good woman. She also had faith in you. For both your sake and hers, I hope you made the correct decision." Ridge agreed. Guilt and nostalgia cannot serve as the foundation for a future. It's already a mistake if you're not sure. Carter was left to deal with feelings he had suppressed. Did he follow a ghost from his past or did he follow his heart? Cold air and colder memories met Daphne as she landed in New York, the city she had called home. She didn't cry, though. She didn't break down. She took a breath, moved forward, and started over. For Daphne Rose was not a lady who remained broken. She was a rebuilding kind of gal. Furthermore, even though Los Angeles was her goal, she wasn't destined to live there just yet. However, in the world of the bold and the beautiful, love stories seldom really end and separations are rarely permanent. Thus, the issue still stands: will Daphne remain absent? Or will someone bring her back, perhaps Deacon or Carter? Will she be the same woman when she returns, or will she be more ferocious, stronger, and less ready to play second to anyone? Daphne Rose may have moved out of Los Angeles, but her journey is far from over.